I was just reading on DigiBoxx and then I Googled, and one of the search results that came just a day back, or a day or maybe a day or two back, was that DigiBoxx was launched, and it was launched by Niti Aayog, Amitabh Kant, and this is made in India, cloud storage for India by Indians. So tell us what you're building at DigiBoxx.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, most of us are in the digital business for some time, right? I mean, most of the founders. And it is quite surprising that we have got about 700 million users creating almost a few petabytes of data every day. But nobody possibly felt the need of having an Indian-owned public cloud service. We are late adopters to tech, right? So we pretty much are catch up all the time. We're playing catch up when it comes to tech. And we're happy with actually people providing us with the services when we need it. We wanted to just change that. We actually believe that there's a huge potential for us to understand what it means to be an Indian tech adopter, and probably when we use a lot of the global platforms, we don't understand almost 80% of those products. Almost 80% of the buttons are never clicked, right? So only basic rudimentary actions are performed. So we wanted to simplify that. We wanted to build something which is much more Indian, and we wanted to provide, a storage solution which people can use without being techies. Right? So there are a lot of cloud solutions. We don't really like calling ourselves a cloud provider. We are not. We are a public cloud, which essentially means that we are a digital asset management platform. Now, DAM as a term is pretty new in India, and we didn't want to kind of propagate a new term for people to even start knowing what we do. So that's why the public cloud stands. But we are not really a cloud. We are a SaaS platform, which is software as a service based on cloud. And the idea is to provide something pretty simple for users to use and store their data. I mean, honestly, we're doing a commodity business. We're not doing anything out of the world,
What does it mean for the Indian user today? How is it, one, if you can take us, what will it mean to me? And the second thing is that how is it different from the other players that we are used to or accustomed to storing our data with?
It actually appeared to us as well when we were designing it, right? So when we started there, we actually did a study across 20 cities in the country. And when I say city, they're big, small, all possible types of cities. We actually realized that most Indians do not even care about storing their data. Okay, it is surprising, and maybe to you and me, the kind of socioeconomic classification we come from, probably it's difficult to believe this. But actually, below the fold, you would essentially find a lot of people who don't really care. They don't even know that when they're buying a mobile phone, they're essentially actually getting a storage service, which is possibly taking their data, and they don't know where it actually resides, right? So we started there. We wanted to tell them that it's important in current geopolitical situation. You are actually working or actually storing your files with an organization which follows the law of the land, right? So that is, and governed by the law of the land. That's why our push to have Mr. Amitabh Kant launch our product, or even going to meet him, even at the drawing board itself, MEITY. We went there and showed them a plan. We told them to tell us if there are any challenges that we face. So we did all those balance and checks. So that was point number one. Point number two, we realized that almost 50% of our digital adopters are never going to speak English, whether we like it or we don't. And there are these pockets where there are these regional languages prevail, right? And maybe they all can speak in English, but they can write and read English, but they are not really conversant in speaking and therefore using. They will still go to, like in my region, they will still go to anandabajar.com and read the news in Bengali, right? And I would like to believe that English is quite prevalent in a city which is Calcutta. So I'm saying that's really, the base. We have got 8 Indian languages, which you can actually use your, cloud in. Third thing, what we have done is we've kind of cut out all the frills. There are a lot of those complex actions that possibly all public clouds have already come up with, and they have done it because they did their research in their countries. So they were actually advanced users, and they said that, okay, we need this button. They never came to our country and checked whether we needed that button or not. And they didn't even care to customize to the product to the needs of this country. So we have made our platform extremely simple. You can only do few actions, and you only need to know them. You don't really need anything beyond that. Right? So that is third.
Hmm.
Yeah. Fourth, what we are doing is, um, we want people to feel that there is there is a kind of need that they could actually own a lot. India, and we follow this something called a human desire framework. It's actually derived from a book called Let's Make It Tick by Hugh Mackey. What it says that there's a difference between need and desire. Like you and me, we can need a phone, but you may desire to buy an iPhone, I may desire to buy an Android phone or a Samsung phone, right? So the desire for Indians are actually, because we come from a society which is potentially probably downtrodden and been kind of oppressed by for a long time. We need more. That's why there's all these offers and all of that keep on happening. So we wanted Indians to feel that they can own a lot more in very little. So that's why if you see the price points, they're actually a strategic call. We said we're going to provide you 100 GB of storage in 1 rupee a day. It is not really, we wanted to not really drive it as a price benefit, but we wanted Indians to feel that they can actually own a lot more, in the I don't know if this can be kind of chalked out of the video, and I'm not publicly saying this, Narayan is going to kill me, but I will tell you, we are oversubscribed by 15 times than what we predicted for 3 months in just 2 days.
Wow.
So our guys are now working relentlessly, for the last 2 days. Like I haven't slept for 2.5 days. I've been doing customer service myself. Because our customer service team is not that large as yet. And so I'm saying I think that is really what our story is. That you can use it in your language. You can do simple things. You can get a lot more in less. And you're only keeping in mind what you need and not really confusing you with a platform which is extremely advanced just by the design, but not really ready for the users.
There's this whole debate that data should be, our data should be within our own country. But at the same time, you and I know that we've been using all these platforms where our data is, I don't know, it must be all over the world. So why do you think it becomes important now that our data should be within the country and not outside?
Again, very very pertinent question. And honestly, I think we have to first define what we mean by data, right? A lot of people, data essentially mean their name, their mobile number, their zip code, their address, their PAN card, their Aadhaar card, etc., etc. And people really get agitated with this. Like for example, we've been getting a lot of questions saying that, okay, I am buying cloud with you. Why do I need to give you my address? Right? Or why do I need to put an OTP validation? But people do not know there are this TRAI guideline which essentially tells us, possibly to know the location of the user of everything. But anyway, just to come to your question. So for a lot of people, data essentially mean their personal information, right? And how much ever people hate it, but it's actually a Google away. You just have to type an information and you can pretty much find all this information thanks to all the public settings that we must have done in some portal. We are actually not concerned about those data. That is available everywhere. We are actually concerned about the critical information which are currently, as Indians, we are used to saving in our data hard drive or in our laptops or even in our, even this other drives that, public drive that people are using. That is essentially very, very critical information, like your medical information, your banking information, education certificates, your property document, your marriage certificate, your child's birth certificate. All of them are extremely critical information, and we are actually worried about those, right? Those data, like whether they have an Indian data center or not, they're also governed by the law of their land, and you do not know what kind of a relationship their government can store with them for them to actually pull out certain information and pass on, right? And it is not our place to comment, but we feel that we must have the same benefit for our own people as well, where we, 1.4 billion people, must have control over our own data and it stays inside the country.
Yeah.
Right? So that is why the need, I think the next, and there are many wars that have fought in this world, Shraddha, we've gone to history and we know this. The next war, and God forbid if it ever happens, it will be fought over data. And we want to be protected for that.
Arnab, why did you name it DigiBoxx? DigiBoxx.
Yeah, correct, right. So so XX because we couldn't find single X. Okay, let's be honest, right? But really, I think we wanted to make it very simple for people to understand. Like when you you see the name DigiBoxx, you know it's a digital box.
Yeah.
I mean, and box also goes back to people storing everything that they have, right? That's some amount of secrecy, some amount of, feeling of that, okay, I am hiding it from others, etc., etc. And it's a digital format. So it's a very simple name. Yeah.
So did Niti Aayog, Mighty help in any way, because this is important for the country, and especially now it is important, and for all the right reasons. Now, if so what kind of support have you got? Have you got any support first and foremost from the government? Because the Google search looks like, in consultation with Niti Aayog and Amitabh Kant launched. So I was very curious, what was the involvement? And second is, this requires massive amount of capital to scale, to build. So where are you? How are you planning your capital?
Yeah. So I'll take this one after the other. We are working on this for almost last 18 months. Okay. And we essentially went to Niti Aayog during the lockdown. Okay. Went as in, we just sent an email, we wrote into them. And I'm sure there are probably lakhs of emails that reach Amitabh Kant's team. Luckily for us, we got a very fast response. Okay, and I must tell you this: I was actually very, very impressed with the way Niti Aayog operates. It's like a private corporation, the way they actually function. So I mean, if I had to send you an email, I would possibly send an email. Then maybe somebody junior from your team would get in touch, know the problem, and make us work towards the big day when I come and present it to you. It's the same process that they followed. So I was actually very impressed with their process. But then happened the big deal when we actually presented it to Amitabh Kant. And he took a lot of interest in understanding the commerce. I mean, his straight question was that you are bluffing. You cannot possibly provide this kind of storage in this price.
Yeah. Right?
And he essentially took time to understand it from me. And it was quite a long call, like almost 75, 90 minutes call, where he actually took the effort, and I had to kind of literally show him my Excel chart and show him that how we are managing it. And just to give you a perspective, we're actually working with almost 3 data centers in the country. They're all Indian data centers. A lot of people feel that we are on AWS, S3, etc., but we are not. We're actually working with Indian data centers, and we had to essentially kind of commit to a very large volume for us to get the kind of price point that we've been operating at. So I think, to the first part of the question, essentially we got a lot of help from Niti Aayog to just crafting the product. From MEITY, we got help in terms of identifying the right partners, in terms of the data centers, because our data centers are MEITY certified, like all the global organization data centers are. It's a mandatory requirement. Luckily for us, there are also some data centers which are not MEITY certified. Not all of them are, but our partners are. So that also kind of helped that we kind of got from them. So all in all, I think we also came in at the right time when the government is also probably focusing on cloud as a business, because they realize that we need to really control our data and the way people are creating content, right? So yes, I think we just fell in line with them. Maybe that's the reason why we got it. But to answer your question, yes, we got a lot of help and a lot of support. And even from that day to the launch day, there is almost a 4 months lag. Even in 4 months, almost periodically, every 10 days, 15 days, we got mails, calls from his team asking us about, tell us what more happened. Then there were questions, how are you answering this? So it's actually quite a very focused discussion. And they also said that, possibly they are looking at us as a product. Just to give you a simple example, we gave him a user account on the launch itself. Yesterday we got a call by saying, okay, he doesn't want to use this email ID. He wants to use another email ID. So we have to actually give him another account with a new email ID, which essentially tells us that the man is probably using it. And now worried that we'll get now new set of questions coming up.
Which is good. A good worry to have in this tough year. And what are you planning to, I read that you've raised $3 million?
Actually, no. But luckily for us, my partner Vivek Suchanti is also a known investor. He essentially invests in a lot of small, medium scale digital advertising and mainline advertising and PR businesses. He runs this outfit called Concept PR, Concept Communication, and I also run another advertising agency called Liquid Asia. Okay, so we are actually associated in multiple businesses, and that potentially makes some people believe that there is some investment. But honestly, this is completely bootstrap between me, him, and another our third partner, Ashish Chala. So yeah, so we don't have investment as yet. We have a roadmap that we have planned, and we want to raise capitals. We are actually working on our IM at this point in time. We want to go out and raise capital. Yeah, you are right. It's extremely capital intensive.
So I read also that you put a goal that you are looking at 10 million customers in the next 3 years.
Yeah.
10 million paid customers in next 3 years. So is this, are you defining it in terms of customer segment? Are you looking at enterprise, small businesses, users, direct consumers? How are you defining and how are you going after this market?
So we actually have got 4 different segments of users. Okay. First is the free user, where you would essentially get a 20 GB free storage. And we are making it a little more customary by giving you a 100-year time period for you to use that 20 GB, right? So if you get an account, actually we got a lot of questions. He said, hey, it says it will be valid till 2120, but I won't be alive till then. You don't know the advancement of medical sciences, right? I mean, the expectancy might just go up. So that's first set. Second, we have the users who wants to invest a little more and wants to kind of get a 100 GB package. So anywhere between 100 GB to 2 TB is a paid package for individual users. It starts with 30 rupees from 100 GB, and for 2 TB it goes up to I think 999 rupees. Okay, per month, and so that's the second segment. Third is an SMB package where you can have between 1 to basically 0 to 500 users. And there are packages for that. It starts with, again, I think 500 MB and it goes up to, I think, 50 TB. And then there are enterprise versions. The good thing about our tech is we built it using Angular and Python and, all this new age tech, which React, etc., which allows us to pretty much run my software in your premise. So you don't need to, so you can also, as an enterprise, suppose you're on a large enterprise, like we're talking to one of the large banks, government organization today, where they have their own cloud and they don't really want to use our cloud because it's an RBI guideline, etc., etc. So what we can potentially do is we can come into your server and install our software and also help you run it. So that way the data remains in your own premise, but people can use it from all over the world. Right. So these are these 4 different types of customer archetype that we have created, and they will all have different kind of price points. But I think it's never going to pinch your pocket at any size. That's our target, really.
Of course, pricing is extremely competitive. Of course, we get that you're going to be, our data is going to be secure here in India, but you'll have to take care of so many things to win this market.
Right.
So how do you guys, when 3 of you get together, what is it that you discuss on winning the market?
So I'll talk about another fourth, pillar of our organization. A gentleman called Ankit, who's our revenue officer, was joined us. He was actually heading one of the Chinese cloud businesses who went out of the market last year. So I'm not going to name them, but so he essentially tells us that. So it's his question, right? I mean, that's the question: that how do we take care of so many things? We understand that it's challenging, right? We understand it's challenging, and that is probably why we feel that we needed to make an attempt to see if we can create a dent. But it's neat. Last 2 days, if you and me, we had this conversation 2 days back, Shraddha, you will probably find me a lot less confident than what I am today. And the reality is this, because in the last 2 days, we have almost 1 lakh plus people who have started using, our product, and a significant amount of them are paid. I guess we are getting some backlashes also. The app is buggy, this is buggy, and that happens. We have taken it to us because our software is, so what we have built is actually an empty bucket, right? We don't have data in it. Data is supposed to be filled by the user. So we didn't know how much data can our bucket hold. Actually, we are extremely surprised and feeling good that it could handle almost about 700 TB of data in just 2 days, right? So huge amount of data coming in. So we're getting a lot more confident than what we were when we were launching. Having said that, it's going to be a difficult route, and we understand it's going to be capital intensive, and there are so many more things we have to do. Honestly, I mean, not just. There's so much work to be done on security front. Our tech team, who comes from the organizations like Oracle, IBM, etc. We are lucky, honestly, they kind of saw the vision and joined us. And in fact, yesterday I was interviewing with somebody, and he said that for us, what is the biggest challenge is to kind of attract the right kind of engineers to join us. And through your video, I would really like to say this, that for us, investment and everything else is secondary. We want the best guys to join us, because best engineers go to the best organized consulting companies, and when we both know that. We want them to look at us and feel good and be proud and feel that, okay, this is an Indian story. There is a chance that these guys must be successful as well. And they want to be a part of, that success story. So we want to actually honestly, in the next 3 months, we want to hire a lot of people. Next 3 years, as Vivek says, we would be needing almost 5,000 engineers to cater to almost 10 million paid users. And that means almost 50 million users were using our platform, which honestly is not a big deal, because we have 700 million internet users. We're not even talking about 10% market share there.
Yeah.
And all of us need cloud, and it's a great price point and a good product.
The other question I had is that, are you going to be looking at, you are based in Mumbai, are you looking at expanding to different parts or creating an office? And I'm assuming here, I'm sitting in Bangalore, so I'm asking, are you looking at expanding here, or are you going to be based there in Mumbai?
So our 3 data centers currently are in Noida, Bangalore, and Indore. This is the first time I'm officially telling this to people, and because it's actually and some of our engineers are based in Calcutta. We have identified these 4 hubs, and we also want to go to Bhubaneswar. So we actually identified the engineering hubs, and unfortunately Mumbai is not one of them, though we have IIT Bombay here, a lot of innovators, etc. But the hubs are still these cities. So more likely we would be hiring in these cities. But a policy that we have taken, that as DigiBoxx, we will be office-less. Like we want our clients to be. We want our clients to be office-less, paperless, and just use DigiBoxx. And so we have to start. So we will not have an office, but we will definitely hire in these 4 cities.
Yeah. And the other thing is that the trust in the brand, right? Like, it's also very important. And many of the international players in some way have created that, it will be secure. It will be secure. It will be, my data, is encrypted. It's secure. Retract kiya ja sakta hai, and all those kind of stuff, right? Like, something trust is a very important component in the brand and the business that you're building. How are you thinking about that?
Trust takes time to build, and we appreciate that. We take it in our stride. None of our competitors are even the ones that directly are in business. Like, there are some big ones who have got other services, and public cloud is just one of the services, and their trust is driven by something else, right? Whereas there are organizations where they're only in this business, and they have built trust over a period of time by people using it. So I think we have to really prove it by proving it to the test of time. That is one. Second is, I think we want to work with a stamp of the Indian government, because finally, I think that will matter. But just between you and me, because you are in a tech space and you understand this better maybe, is that technology is omnipresent. When a security standard is created anywhere, it actually reaches everywhere of the world.
Yeah.
So between you and me, let me tell you, we are equally secured like anybody else. And it's not that we have done something. It is just that that's the standard being set by the programming language, by the server guys, by the the firewall guys, and every other part of the businesses who are contributing to this experience, right? And so we are equally secured. That's not really a challenge. But you're right when you say that how do people trust? Because most people, for them, the words are this, like encryption, right? I don't know, a lot of people know that even the largest company in the world, they don't really keep your files encrypted. It's only transaction that is encrypted. So when you send a file, it is encrypted. When the file is inside the drive, it is not encrypted, because it actually takes a lot more storage to encrypt a file and save it than really keeping the file as it is. Plus, for a human eye cannot read an encrypted file. So even if the user who's the owner of the file will not be able to read it if the file is encrypted, right? But these are something that you cannot possibly teach everybody, and it is not even an interest point for people to know. So there's these terms which are kind of popular, that encryption and end-to-end encryption and firewalls, etc., etc. So we feel that we can only prove it with time.
Yeah.
And more people using it, and Shraddha telling somebody that, I am using DigiBoxx, it's just fine, nothing happened to me. Maybe that person trusts Shraddha and not DigiBoxx. And so word of mouth has to probably...
And that's why the 1 lakh customers who have come in 2 days, in the few days that you've launched, would be extremely critical for you, because they'll be your brand ambassadors.
Right, correct. So they're having an okay experience. I feel like we've got we got almost like if a lakh of users and only 300 complaints. So I'm guessing they're having an okay time. So
that's phenomenal. That's a very good going towards a very good NPS score.
Correct. But people who are having positive experience, they don't speak. People who have negative experience are the ones who speak. That's how human beings are. So but we're getting a lot of support from people, honestly, where people are saying that they're extremely proud that a business like this, has come up. And I also feel that their usage is lower currently, Shraddha, because it's also holiday time. So people are probably more focused on creating content. I'm actually worried about the first week of Jan when they come back and start uploading their stuff. So we're kind of planning for that. But I think, overall it's a decent experience.
Players like Dropbox and all, would you say that they are a competition?
Honestly, they are a competition, and they are probably stronger competition because the top of mind recall of these brands are extremely high, right? But if you just you've been in this space for a long time, if you just go back and see your own behavior as a user, you've always started to use that platform by transferring heavy files. It was actually never because you wanted to save the asset, right? So if you understand that means that their biggest business was never their pull. Their small chotu part of their business, which is actually a driver, is what they have made them what they are. Like what happened with WeTransfer in India for a few months, people didn't even know how to transfer heavy files, right? So we also have a similar service called InstaShare. The good thing about our product is that you can actually keep your files alive for 45 days. When most
How
of
much do you charge for that, InstaShare?
It's free. It's like every other file transfer service, but they have, I think, 7 days or 5 days window. We have got 45 days. Plus, our service is also OTP validated. So again, follows the TRAI guidelines. So you know who the sender is. So to come to that one, they are a competitor. They are bigger, in terms of brand value or in terms of top of mind recall. But I feel that InstaShare has the potential to also become one of them, and thereby DigiBoxx, as another platform. So we're looking at these two businesses very differently. InstaShare, will be probably used more, and it is being used currently. The other day, somebody sent me a file using InstaShare, and I was very, very happy. And I don't know how that person did, and he didn't know that I am, also the founder of InstaShare. I was really, really happy. When someone, I'm sure if someone didn't know who you are and they send a link of your story by saying, hey, there's a great story that's come up, then you would feel good, right? So it's the same thing. So I think InstaShare would be our answer to their brand value currently.
In next 1 year, if I have to ask you, with DigiBoxx, yes, it's very, very, very early days. But what's the big ambition in the next 1 year?
Say we have planned for almost 5x more than what we have currently in terms of storage space. I feel that if we are 20% in it, so if we have, say, 10 million users, and if we have 20% of that in the next 1 year, and even if we have almost 20% of the 5,000 engineers that we want to hire, we will really feel good about it, because then we are in the business of we have really given ourselves this 2 years to do this tick marks for ourselves. Honestly, me and Vivek, we discussed. Vivek said, do you think we'll get 10,000 users in 1 year? So yesterday, you and me we were having a chat, and we said, Vivek, we've got 1 lakh. He said, "Are you serious?" So the reality is this: that I mean, we do not believe that we'll be able to do it, but somewhere deep inside us, we also feel that maybe we'll be able to pull it off.
Yeah.
We want to fly with that humility and want to be scared. Scared. Fear is good for us.
What the paranoid survive, no? That's the Intel founder had said, Andy Group, no?
Yes.
So, no, that's no, but on behalf of everyone watching and all the Indians and young Indians and Indians in tech startup world, this is ambitious, this is audacious, and we hope that you succeed. All the very best.